Welcome back. In this tutorial I will show you how to make some balloons or a balloon filled with air, and we will add some soft lighting around it. I'll show you how to make maybe add this map to it with opacity, and we'll set up some proper lights like this one here. It's a little trick to that little window shape light. So let's get started. So first let's make a table. The table should measure, I like to work with regular real sizes, like a 2 foot by 3 foot top. This way I also use the right sizes for the balloons. You may want to change your parameters to 1/16 of an inch. We need a wall in the back so we can reflect some light from there too, and also as a background so we can see the transparency of our balloon. About the same size of the top, 2 by 3 is fine. Put it in the back here. Change this to hidden line. Press G if you want to get rid of the grid lines in the background. Right, so let's make sure you have Corona Renderer as your renderer. You can leave the default for the active shade. I'm using 3dsMAX 2015, but this works in any other version. Let's add a light here. 137 the intensity. Make that small light, like 1 inch, with a lot of light, so we can cast a little bit of shadow, and also we can have a good reflection. Let's make another light, this time a corona light with a rectangular shape. We need this one here to do the reflection as in a window. Now I use this trick all the time. Especially if you're going to take a render something that has nice reflections without having to draw an entire room. So you make this plane look like a window. We'll make the 3 segments and convert to poly. Then we can move those lines closer together. Like that, and the other one, the other side too. Then we can delete these areas. You'll have left over something that looks like the 4 panes of a window. For the window, we will assign a corona material. Open your material editor and let's apply under standard corona light material. Just drag one onto the window here, and we'll make some changes here. Let's change the multiplier to 10 to make it very bright. Uncheck light emission or emit light. We won't need that. Directionality, you can just leave it as 0. What else do we need here? We can leave this visible in reflections. I don't think we need the refractions, and we can leave everything else just like that. So let's apply that to our window shape plane, and let's render to see what we have so far. So you can see here, that's what we want for that window looking like on the black background. That's going to show the rest of the lights are just enough for what we want to do. We don't need too many lights here. For the table, I like to use a very reflective material. This time let's try something like a metallic, rough brush metallic material. So we'll change some of these parameters here. Once you have this done, you will be able to save this for future use. So this material, I'm going to call it brushed metal. Brushed. Change the color to black or almost black. You can change that later. You can play with the shade of this metal. Now let's look over here under reflection. We'll put 1, the level, and check on color, about a medium gray. Check on this square here. When you check on that square, is the same as if you would add a map here on the reflection. All right, so you can, from here, check, select mix, and add that mix to the reflection. The parameters on this mix color on the black and white are going to be gray, and the second color, of course, it's a slightly darker gray. This is the variation of gray color in the metal. You can change this on these curves from 0 to 1 on the upper, and then you get a smooth transition from one color to the other. Now we need to change the anisotropy to 0.4 and the rotation of that light to 90 degrees. The Fresnel to 10 on the reflection, make it quite reflective. And also halfway the glossiness, about 0.6 or 61. Now, let me see, I'm doing something wrong here. Wait a minute. Oh yes, the mix has to be on the glossiness, not on the color, on the glossiness of the reflection. But on the reflection color, we're going to add noise. So add noise, and let's change the parameters of noise. Double click here. And we'll make it a little bit more than just 1 in one direction on the Y direction, to 22 on zeta, 2.54. You know, these are things that I have practiced and tried one way or another, and I finally got something I like. The threshold of the noise is 0.1. These two colors can stay the same way. Now, the interesting thing about this is, I'll explain this in another lesson, but we need to combine something else. Let me see. We can probably add also the noise to the mix, like that. See how it goes sideways now? Because we added noise to the mix, and then we can bump a little bit with the same noise. See, we made some very small amount of noise there, but enough to affect the brightness over the metal. And there's your bump. We're going to make this just a little bit less than 1.2. Just a little bit of bumpiness there. And then we can apply this to our tabletop. And then we can render to see what we get. Okay, I think that looks pretty good now. Now we need just a simple material for the wall in the back. Just choose a medium color or almost white, but maybe a little bit warm. So that will give us some background color. All right. Now we need to make a balloon. We can start off with a sphere. There are many ways to make a balloon. Let's make a quick balloon here. Just take this roughly 5-6 inch balloon. I'm going to make this one just so you can see how I went about making a simple balloon. After it's an editable poly, you can apply this modifier. You can follow the steps I have here in this example. The most important thing about making a balloon would be the proportions of the balloon. Sometimes if it's too round or too long, or it doesn't have the right proportions, like the width versus the height. Most balloons, because they are all rubber, they tend to inflate in the same proportion like a ball, but the way they were manufactured forces them to make it into an elongated oval type of sphere. This part here, I usually don't mind if I fake this into something else. I don't have to be I don't have to draw this in detail, but this will give you an idea. Okay, our balloon is done, and in proportion it looks pretty good. So now we can try creating the material for the balloon. We're going to start up with the Corona material. The color, this part of the color is usually the brightest and what you see outside. This second color is, I'll explain in a minute, the translucency. I'm going to change that to half. And the second color here has to be in the range of the yellow. In other words, a warm color. You can go towards, from yellow to green or yellow to red. So in this case, like orange color is fine. Change the reflection to 0.7. Fresnel is just about right, 155 or so. The glossiness, 0.7, not too glossy. balloon is a little bit rough. Now here in this area, we'll work this out. It's very interesting how I came up with this texture for the balloon. The opacity is how much transparent is the balloon going to be. All right. For now, let's see what it looks like. This color is important. That's this orange color you see down here. It will appear that the balloon has air inside by having this second color on. Like you can see here, it seems to be filled up with some air. So you can play with some of these values and change a little bit up and down to see how shiny you want your balloon. Some balloons are more shinier than other ones. But there's the reflection of the window, which works very nice. And this, the bottom is a hard surface, it's a dark color, and the color balloon looks good in this background. So you can adjust your lighting as you wish for your final render. After you made your first balloon, you can make copies and change the colors for the other balloons. For example, if you choose a bright red like this, the second color has to be in the range of the reds also. Let's say, in this case, kind of orange is okay. This color of the reflection you can change slightly to give the appearance of a more washed out color. Same thing on the second color for the blue here. Maybe this could be a little bit of purplish, you know, from blue to red. Make your compose your scene, you know, put the balloons in the directions, in the best directions you want for your final render. The ribbons can be made with helix in the spline section. Once you make the height of your helix the way you want it, you can make some adjustments later. Get a close look at your helix here and draw a rectangle. This is about the thickness of a ribbon. We'll change the values of this later, but for now let's start with this small rectangle, and we're going to select the helix, and we're going to apply a modifier called sweep. Don't worry about this. This is the sweep that does on default. It's giving you the shape of this angle here. We're going to select Use Custom Section, pick, and then click on the small rectangle we made. So now we have our little ribbon. You can make the adjustments you need. Notice how this ribbon, as it turns, it kind of flips around. It doesn't seem to be right. It's the banking is the one you have to correct. See, you go around here, and you're on the outside of it. You're not going in the same in circles. You're going downwards, and it's going out of its own banking. So this is the way to go. But you can choose either way. The other parameters are to change the length, shape, etc. So the rectangle here, you can change also the direction in which your ribbon is going to work, whether it's, you know, narrow or flat the other way. So you decide. The other parameters are on the helix itself. You can change the way it looks right here. And you know, make a few different ones, and like confetti for carnival, and then you'll add the shiny colors to the surfaces. So that pretty much should be good enough for the ribbons. Now some balloons do have some other things like a small stick or a little plastic piece for children to hold it. You know, these little things sort of add to the to making the balloon look more real. You know, you place it in a way so that the balloon is either has fallen because of the weight of the stick. You know, you may be able to find these ideas on some photographs. So once you're done with this and you get all your scene together, you know, a good composition, you can just render after making, you know, minor adjustments to some of your lights and some of your colors of your materials. This should work very fine. I'm going to render this at 1024 by 680 or so, and I was about to forget. We can apply a map to the balloon to show some printing on the balloon. So let me see, this one is balloon number 2. I think that's the green one. I just want to look at my model here, see which one that is. That's, I think, this balloon 2. So let's apply a little bit of an image there. We're going to apply the a bitmap to the diffuse area, like in this case. The values from this one here, from this map 17. But I'll explain a little. These are the size and the location of the map on the balloon. Offset means so far from zero, from one end or from another side. But all of it has to do the positioning over on the balloon. So you can change those values as you need. You can even open output here, invert the image, or you can enable color map. And when you do this, it allows you to change the shades of the color here from RGB independently. In this case, I'm going to use output amount, which means how strong do I want an image to show on the balloon. You know, I'll make it half the strength to make it look like a very light printing, and the RGB level a little bit less than 1. And as you can see, the image is on top of the green balloon. It's been printed, but like I said before, you can change the values to make this stand out stronger if you wish to. Now, the longer it renders, the better. It's going to look just like this. Here's a negative image and a positive image on the balloons. I like the edge, the softness, and the transparency of these balloons. So I hope you like this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe if you wish to, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.